So thank you very much for the nice introduction. We'll start with, I will start presenting my screen. So you will see the presentation. Um, we'll start with an introduction, of course, of our company and who we are. And then eventually we'll go to a live demo of our solution. And let's see how many users we will get in 1 hour of advanced forms. No, I'm kidding. I will share my screen now. I think you see my screen. So yeah, indeed, today here with Optimus to present a presentation about how to avoid customization, and then especially how to avoid customizations in documents, document layouts, determine where the document should go with what kind of distribution of a type of format, etc. Especially to avoid customizations in there. So embrace advanced forms for document output management in Microsoft Dynamics 365. Let's go to the next slide. On the agenda, indeed, I won't say this again because Vishal also presented it, of course. Every one of these topics, we will get through them. I will not go to the added value, etc. I will do my story. We'll do eventually a live demo, and after this event, you will have your answers on all these questions. So before I'll go further, if you have any questions, feel free to interrupt us in the meantime, or to send a notification that you have a question. We'll be happy to provide you with the answer right away and immediately. I'll first start with an introduction of me, then I will ask my colleague Tom, who's also on the call, if he can introduce himself, and then we'll do the introduction of our company. Something about myself. I'm Nicolas Vezu, working for almost 4 years at the company as a sales manager, so responsible for partnerships, gaining new business, maintaining existing customers, of course, all with the idea that I'm here to get people enthusiastic about our solution and help people, customers, but also partners to get flexible and so they can do things themselves regarding document output management. Tom, over to you.
Yes, my name is Tom Hazen. I'm a consultant at Cordira. I work for this company already for 10 years. So I've have a fair share of customers that I help with our solution. And during this demo, I will provide more technical insight in advanced forms. Over to you, Nicholas.
Yeah, thank you very much. Then we'll go on with the introduction of our company. So Vishal already mentioned it. We're from Cordira. Cordira was founded in 1999 in the Netherlands. It's where we're based in Veghel, a small country or small city near Eindhoven. Maybe that sounds familiar to you. That's where we're based. That's where we actually started building our solution, Advanced Forms. And that was done by our founder and still owner, Hajo Kanters. He actually started in 1999 with the idea and objective that customers, but also partners, but for this event, customers should be able to do something themselves about the document output management requirements. And with document output management, I mean document layouts. So designing the documents themselves, extract data from other databases, combine it, use it on the documents, decide based on XML values where the document should go. Should it be emailed, to who should it be emailed, or should it be printed, etc. He thought that should be easy. We believe in standard ERP solution, it is not easy for an end user to do it themselves. So that's where we came in with our solution to make sure that the end customer can do it themselves. To make sure that people can go with our solution and do it themselves, we have a Q Academy, which means that we train you in using our solution. We have a very easy and flexible solution, Advanced Forms. You will see it during the demo, but you might think at first sight, that looks a bit difficult, but it is not difficult. In the Q Academy, we learn you how to use our solution. In 1 or 2 days, you'll be fully trained to use our solution independently and to be able to do something about your document output management requirements yourself. From that moment, you don't need to rely on a partner anymore. Of course, the partner can do the work for you, but much easier with no long lead times anymore. We obviously have a support desk. Should you have need any support from our side, you can just reach out to our support desk, or of course to the support desk of Optimus, and they can help you right away with the first questions regarding something of our solution. Besides of the support desk, we also see a large customer base who use our solution but don't have the time to do it themselves. But it is easier, lead times go down, and it's cheaper. Therefore, we also have consultants. So should you want to use our solution because it's easier, no longer lead times, etc., flexible, you could use one of our consultants to start with the project, and then you finish it yourself later on. We basically have a team of like almost 50 people. And of the 50 people, we have our 15 in-house Microsoft certified developers. A strong point of our solution is that the Advanced Forms solution, which we started creating in 1999, we start developing it. We still are developing solution. We don't buy in from any third party or so, which means that all the knowledge is here with the 15, of course, with the 15 developers, which we have in-house. And we keep it that way, because if a customer wants something new, or we spot something in the market, or Optimus comes with an idea, we think, okay, hey, that's a good idea. We build it in our solution, and every customer will get the new version of the solution. Within almost 24 years in business, we have a customer base over 600 plus installed customers. They're all using our solution for any document output management requirement. And therefore, we have over 1,000 trained professionals worldwide who are certified by us after a training in our Q Academy. And therefore, they are really able to add value for their company with our solution. That makes that in 2023, we say Advanced Forms is one of the world's leading solutions in the world of document output management. We will go in depth about this, of course, but we have the solution for small companies to enterprise companies. Every company can work with our solution in their own way and how they want to do it. Go to the next slide. Something about the footprint of our solution. Of course, you will see the first row, it's all Microsoft, the whole Microsoft suite, basically. That's where we have deep integration. That's why we are a Microsoft Gold development partner. And that's where we have all the connectors, which are really in the environment. And therefore, it's quite easy for you to start using our solution and gain advantage of our solution in terms of document output management. Of course, the newer Business Central, but also the older Navision, GP, etc. It's all there. But also the big brother, let's call it like that, from Business Central, Finance and Supply Chain or Unified Operations, and what used to be Dynamics AX, of course, and also an integration with Microsoft Dynamics CE and CRM. You could also use all kind of ERPs with one Advanced Form. So you could also use a Business Central as a base, but you also have a CE environment. It's not a problem at all. With our solution, we can use both to combine the data and do stuff with it. To give you a bit of example of the footprint, it's not only, of course, a Microsoft Dynamics suite, let's call it like that, but also we have a large customer base in, for instance, SAP, Glovia, GD Edwards, Jeeves, and this, which basically stands for any other system. We also have a large customer base worldwide. We've built our own system where they can have an output with data of like, for instance, an XML. And it's a perfect start for our solution. So we also see a large customer base. We've built our own solutions and therefore also use Advanced Forms. So 5 reasons to choose for Advanced Forms as a document output management solution. First of all, of course, the designer. Partners don't like to hear this, or Microsoft, but we say don't use RDLC or Word anymore. Once you have seen our solution, once you can try our solution, you want our designer, our solution to be able to design your documents yourself. Of course, if you have in-house development, they can do some RDLC layout, formatting, etc. But therefore, you constantly need a developer and a consultant each time you want to change something. Word, that's a nice feature of Microsoft. We say Word is nice to write letters, but not to design your professional documents which need to go to your customers, suppliers, etc. those documents do need the right information on it, and it do need the right formatting and layout. You want to make sure that the documents are coming with all the data in a nice and proper way, in your proper way, with your corporate identity, etc. So therefore, we have our own designer. It's also part of the demo later on. We will demo it. We will show you all the ins and outs and show you, of course, how easy it is. With our own designer, yeah, you could say goodbye to long lead times on changes, or even lead times on creating new documents, because changes on documents, okay, if you need one change, yeah, it could take up to a few days. But let's say you want to create a whole new document layout. It will take up to weeks, months, etc. And the hard thing is you cannot do a thing about it yourself. And again, of course, if you have your developers, etc., you can do it, but you don't want to use your precious time of the developers to design your documents. You want to let them create stuff, etc. So you'll be in control. You can do it yourself, and especially after the training. And with the training, we ensure actually that customers can do it themselves. It's quite easy. It's in a drag and drop way. You can pick any fields from the data coming, in this case, from Business Central. And you can just drag and drop it on the design. And the nicest thing about is that you just have a preview button. If you click on a preview button, you will see a live preview with live data of the documents which you're about to design or where you are designing for. So that's the nicest thing about it. And therefore, yeah, it's pretty flexible to do it yourself. Then the workflow. So reason 2, the workflow possibilities. We have basically 2 solutions. As I mentioned before, we have solutions which can be used by smaller companies, but we also have the same solution which can be used by an enterprise company. And with that workflow possibilities, you can either say, okay, let's use a standard of our solution, Advanced Forms, where we have basically predefined a process, or you could get the whole solution and you'll be in control, total in control of your own workflows, decide what the output type should be, etc. And therefore, it's quite simple to use multi-output channels. So a document, an invoice also needs to be printed, mailed, needs to go to another network or so. But it's also quite easy to define what to do with the document, for instance, based on a specific value from the XML. So for this customer, it needs to go to the email, or for this customer, it needs to go to the archive, etc. It's quite easy to do that based on any value coming from the data in the ERP. It's also quite easy to involve external documents to your workflow. So let's say you want with your invoice, you want also the general terms and conditions, but you want to have it as one document. You want to combine the documents. That's also a simple thing and out of the box standard functionality of our solution, which you can use. And also it's a part of the demo also of Tom's part. Just like I told with Designer, also here, build your workflow also in a drag and drop way. You could easily select from tons of input, output, and process engines where you can build up in a visible way your workflow for a specific document. Then do it yourself. Yeah, like I mentioned in the introduction, it's built in an easy and flexible way. It's built in a way that end customers should be able to do something with our solution and with our document output, etc. themselves. So we build it in an easy and flexible way, and we continue developing our solution in an easy and flexible way. So we can ensure that end customers which are using it right now, that they can still use it in the near future. Like I mentioned before, also training possibilities. So you can do it yourself. We encourage you to do it themselves. Of course, we have consultants or support desk to support you, but we encourage people to do it themselves. And that's where we also say, okay, with the start of a project, we'd like to help you. We'd like to help you 1 or 2 days just to get you started, and then we'll let you go. And if you have some questions, you can come back, of course. Simply flexible. Again, with the designer, with the workflow, with do it yourself, the way how it's built, it's simply flexible to do something about the documents yourselves. You used to have, maybe you have RDLC layouts again, or Word layouts. You have some, some things which you cannot do with the layouts, or you want some specific changes, but you cannot do it yourself. Now you can just start using our solution, give it a try, and you're easily able to do something about the documents yourself. Reason 5 to choose Advanced Forms as a document output management solution. It's scalable. So like I mentioned before, I'm going to mention it once more. Our solution is for small companies, but our solution is also and often used by enterprise companies. You can start with a small predefined process, which we provide you with, or you can say, okay, no, I want the entire solution because I want to build my own things. We can grow with your business. So of course your business is going to grow. You're getting more customers, more suppliers, maybe you're going to open some stores, etc. We can grow with you, and you can grow with our solution with your company. It's time for a demo now. So I'll take back my screen or share another screen. Let's see how I do that. I think you still see my screen. So we're now in a Business Central environment, and I'm about to demo a part of our solution, and then my colleague Tom will take over and he will demo another part of our solution. What I'm about to demo is a solution which can be used, of course, by smaller companies, but also by bigger and enterprise companies. And it's totally, it's based on the requirements which you have for your document output management. What I'm about to demo is a predefined process where we say, okay, with our solution, in terms of distribution, you can print, mail, and archive your documents. That's in terms of distribution, what you can do with this solution, what I'm about to demo. Of course, you can design your documents, you can design your mail bodies, extend data sets, etc. That's also part of it. But based on workflows, you can print, mail, and archive. So what I'm about to demo is how does it look like when you use our solution for, let's say, a posted sales invoice. How does it look like if we go to print this specific posted sales invoice? Well, I actually go to print. And in this case, we basically have two options. We can say, I want to have a preview of the document, or you can say, no, just hit print. And when I hit print, our solution will look into the distribution rules, which you have defined within Business Central and our connector, and it'll just follow those rules. So if you said, okay, the invoice, if I say print, it needs to go to the mail. If I hit the print now, it will just go to the mail. But to show you what kind of flexibility we want to offer the end customer, and something which standard Business Central does not have, I'm just about to go to the preview option. And if I go to the preview option, a screening of advanced forms within Business Central will pop up. And what you see over here is that we have an actual preview of the document. So yeah, this document, you will notice that's the same in a designer once you design this, of course, but it's just check up. Okay, this is indeed the design, the document, it looks fine, it looks okay. And then something new is coming in of our solution. We give the end customer or the end user the possibility to change some things. So we offer the possibility to be flexible when it comes to the output, and in this case, distribution of the posted sales invoice. Because as you can see, we have the distribution settings over here. And what you can see is that the email address to has been filled in over here, and also the mail from, and also the invoice with the specific number and the mail body, etc. And that's what you can do with our solution within Business Central, within our connector, on the distribution page on the actual customer card. So for a customer, you can say, okay, once we have an invoice, if I'm about to print that, it needs to go in this case to this specific email address, or it needs to come from this email address. But let's say I've spoken with someone of this company, which I'm about to send the document to. It also needs to go a CC to the administration. It's easy. I just go to here, administration@cordira.com, go out of here, and that's how easy you add something to the distribution rules. Now, if I just hit a mail, also our administration department will also get a CC, a copy of this specific email. So that's how easy you can add some things over here, but it's also easy to do upfront, of course, to ensure, okay, an invoice also needs to go to this email address or so. You can just define it, predefine it within our connector. Then something about the mail bodies, the text here, of course, and what you see is that we have the invoice number over here. And also over here, we have the specific contact person over here. And that's what we can do with our solution also within Business Central. We can build up and design mail bodies specifically for a customer or specifically for an invoice or what kind of report you want to use. And we can use XML values. So this is an XML value on the background, and that makes it extremely flexible using this specific mail body. Because if I will choose another invoice number, of course, this specific number will change in that specific invoice number, and also the contact and also the subject. So that makes it very flexible and dynamic to use our solution when you're about to send documents. Not only am I allowed to change something in here, but also in here. Let's say I just spoken with Peter. I can say, dear Peter, or payment terms up to 60 days or whatever. You can easily change it over here and then say print mail or print end mail. Another thing, attachments. So we can define, okay, with what kind of report do we need to send an attachment? And in this case, it's an invoice. So we predefined, okay, with every invoice, we need the terms and conditions along with the invoice to be sent. And that's what you also see here. The terms and conditions is actually waiting here. When we are sending this, the end recipient will also get the terms and conditions in PDF. This is something which you can also predefine, but this is also something which we can change right now or add something right now, because I have spoken to Peter, payment terms up to 60 days, and perhaps I have a specific document which I also need to upload over here and also needs to be sent with this invoice. That's quite easy. Just go to attachments and say add attachment. Yeah, and I will say choose, the file explorer will open and you can just grab a document, add it onto here and go further with the distribution. And from here, we basically have, as I mentioned before, the distribution options of this solution. Print, mail, and print and mail, of course, and another button when you're using, for instance, bulk processes, you could use this one. The archive is in this case, you have predefined it before. The invoice always need to be archived. That's something you predefined before. It will just go with this specific one. So you now have seen this one, this screen. This is how it looks like when you're using our solution, of course, when you're processing a document. But let's go now to the configuration, because you have seen the screen, but okay, how do we make sure that this will end up here with a preview and the distribution settings and that I can change some things? Therefore, I would go to the connector, still in Business Central. You will see advanced forms as our solution. I'm lighting up some things. The first thing we saw is that we are, when we are processing an invoice, that our solution steps in. The data will go through our solution, the document will be designed, and you could use our distribution for distributing your document. Therefore, I will go to report configuration, because this is actually the place where you define, okay, this specific report should run via advanced forms. If you define a report over here, from that moment, in this case, let's say the invoice, it will run through our solution and you could use our solution for this. So that also makes it possible. Let's say you have 60 RDLC reports and you want to start using our solution. I can imagine that you cannot design 60 new documents to start using our solution. And that's not a problem, because only if I define a report over here, then it will run through our solution. which makes it possible to go step by step over to our solution. Start with an invoice or any other report, and start with one report, bring it live, and then do another. And that's how, yeah, also how flexible it is to start using our solution and not. We also have a large customer base. We have tons of internal documents, and that internal documents doesn't require a nice layout or so. So they say, okay, therefore I don't use the advanced form solution. I just use the standard, and that's perfect, of course. So the reports which are defined here are the standard reports for Business Central. Maybe you have done this before. We actually have a lot of customers who said, okay, yeah, but the standard reports doesn't have any or every field which I need in my document. Let's say I need a specific customer name. It's not in the data set of the let's say the quotation. And that's where we came in with our solution, add fields to report. So once we are going to a specific report and I say add fields, here you have the possibility to extend the data set yourself, because on the left side, we have the table numbers. You can easily say, okay, drop down, select for full list. And here we have basically every data set, from standard Business Central, but also, let's say, custom tables. You could just pick one here and say you want to pick a field of this specific table, and I want to add it in this case to the quote. Over here, we took the customer table, and then the next thing you can do is select specific field, of course, from this table. And the only thing you need to do then is say whether it should be in the header or in the line, give the unique name, and set the filter. And the filter is needed because if, let's say, for a specific customer, there is a field needed, the filter makes sure that if that customer will, if you will process a document of the customer, that, let's say, the right contact person of that customer is of course, showing up on the document and not from any other. And that's how easy you extend your data set. So also for this, so not only for designing your documents, but also from now on, from adding fields from any table to any table, you can easily do it yourself. And this is also, of course, something you will learn during the training, a 1 or 2 day training course, but you can do it yourself. So also for extending data sets, you don't need to go anymore to any partner or to a partner, have long lead times, etc. You can do it easily yourself. Then, of course, the distribution, because when I just hit the sales invoice, you saw that the mail to, the mail from, the mail body, etc., it was filled in. And that's what you can do on the customer card or the vendor card or the supplier card. In this case, we go to customers. I go to a specific customer. And when I will scroll down, you will see 2 new ribbons, Advanced Forms Distribution and Advanced Forms Archive. And this is where you can say, okay, for this specific customer, if a 1306 standard sales invoice will come for this customer, it always needs to be mailed. And it also always needs to go to this specific email address. And you might remember this email address from the previous screen, because this is the one which we saw over there. And that's how easy you can say per customer, per report for a customer, okay, it should always be mailed or else be print. Use a custom email template, mail to, mail CC, BCC, etc. It's quite easy to do over here on the customer card. So it's never been this visual, in a visual way to do and define this per customer. And also the archive, we've spoken about it as an output opportunity, of course. Also the archive over here. And in this case, only the PDF and the mail, which belongs to the specific PDF, it's been archived here on the customer card. So it's also never been easier to go to a specific customer because you are looking for a document of this specific customer. You just go to the customer card and look it up over here and pick it up from here and do things, send it, download it, etc. from the customer card in Business Central. Then, of course, in the previous screen, you also saw the email template, of course. And that's where you can also do very easily in Business Central. You can say add a template. And here you will see, what I just mentioned, the XML values. So we could use this as a standard for every specific for every invoice which you print from Business Central. That makes it dynamic. We could use one for every. Of course, things like language code, based on the language code of the customer card, we can obviously decide, okay, it should be Dutch or English or Spanish or so. It's all flexible. You can decide it flexible in here. So the last thing I'm about to show in a high-level overview to you before we'll go to the part of Tom is the designer. Because that's one of the reasons why you should choose for Advanced Forms as a document open management solution. And I will drag and drop it in here. Of course, we have seen the preview once we hit the preview button in Business Central, and there we got this specific report. You might remember it. This was this specific report. In a high-level overview, this is our designer. What can you do with our designer? Like I mentioned before, it's quite easy to drag and drop data from, in this case, the XML coming from Business Central onto the design, and let's see, okay, what happened with the document, how does the field look like on the design, etc., and do things based on what you see. And it's quite easy. On the right side, we have the data source, the connection, in this case, the XML, which belongs to a sales invoice. Let's say I want to add a field on it, and I say company address on here. There is already a company address, but just to demo you, of course, I will say, okay, company address, let's just put it over here and preview. Let me see how it looks like. And what you see, I hit preview, immediately you will get an actual preview of the document with the live data. You can see that the field is over here. Of course, I just drag and drop it over here. It's not nice. But if you want to give it another font or another color, etc., it's this easy, just like you're used to do within, let's call it Word. Not only can you use data from Business Central directly, of course, but you can also use pictures, such like our logo, and also matrices. So should you have any, or if you're a fashion company, you have matrix tables, etc. It's also quite hard to do in RDLC. Therefore, we just have a standard. You could use it within our solution. And the last thing I'm about to mention before Tom will do his part is that we have built in, embedded in our designer, all kind of barcodes, etc., QR codes, which you could use on your document. I will go back to the presentation because before we go into his part, I want to mention again, it's scalable, our solution. What I just have shown you is the first sentence, start easy with a predefined process. And that's what you just saw. You could just go to the app source, install it from there, and within like, let's say 5 minutes, you're good to go. You're good to go and to be flexible with our solution when it comes to document output management. And now, of course, or take full control of your document workflows, output types, etc. And that's what I mentioned before. We can grow with your business. You can grow with our solution with your business. And with that said, Tom, I would like to give you the word. Maybe there are some questions already, or?
We don't seem to have any questions on our chat.
Okay.
So
if not,
the attendees, you can feel free to ask any questions on the chat box.
Yeah. I will now go on mute and Tom will do his part.
Yes, okay. I will continue this meeting. What you've just seen, what Nicolas showed us, was the cloud solution of Advanced Forms, where the entire workflow is predefined within the Dynamics solution. When you are growing as a company and you want to have more options in Advanced Forms, you can go to the full version. That's the one I'm going to show to you now. The full version of Advanced Forms is actually a server application that can also be run in an Azure environment. And it will allow you to create your own workflow based on your own needs and all the needs of your customers. And what you see in here is our studio environment, which gives you the opportunity to make a workflow. And you start with a clean sheet, and you have a lot of building blocks in our solution that allows you to create a workflow you like. And those modules you see on the right side of the screen is in a very long list of things that we can use to create a workflow that you need. And the first thing, of course, that we need when you set up this system is a connection with your ERP system, in this case, Microsoft Dynamics. And the way we communicate with Dynamics is using a web service. And we have a lot of input modules in Advanced Forms available. One is the web service. It's very easy to set it up. Just click on the module that you selected, open up a profile, and you can choose any port that you like to communicate on. And that's as easy as to set up this kind of an input. The input is very important for Advanced Forms because we are always waiting for data to come to us. And we are always waiting for information from an ERP system. It can be the web service. It can also be another kind of input, like a folder, a hot folder that we are constantly checking. It can be an FTP location. It can even be a mailbox. The email that comes in will be a starting point for Advanced Forms. We can also use a virtual printer. We can use the Microsoft Azure Service Bus application. So there are multiple ways of communicating with Advanced Forms. We now go for the web service as a way of communicating. This web service is connected to Business Central. They do the same setup as Nicholas just showed in his demo. Only the running of the report, the creation of the PDF files will be done on the Advanced Forms server itself. So when you do a printout in Business Central, an XML file is created with all the data from the report, and that is sent to this server application. The web service picks that XML file up, and after that we use our designer module, the one that Nicholas just shown to you, to design a document. You connect the two together, and you have your first workflow already set up. To create a design, I'm going to show you a very fast demo of how to do it. The Advanced Form Designer gives you a basic setup of a document. You have a page header, a footer, and a data section in between. Just give the page header the room it needs on the document. Just drag and drop it. If you do not need the report title, you can just delete it. And if you say, okay, the data needs to have its own header and needs its own footer, you just select it from the list and add it to it. This way, you're going to set up your document. Most important thing, you have to have the data from Dynamics. So you have to connect to the XML file that's coming in through the web service. Select it from the list, select one from here, next. All data from the report from Dynamics is now connected to my design. And you see here all the header information, all the line information, all the information that's in the default report of Dynamics will come to Advanced Forms also. So you have the same data as the RDLC reporting or the Word reporting is also in here. Now I'm going to set up a line, something of the line level. I want to have a description on the line. Just drag it onto there, make it as big as you need it to be. We also have options like it can grow or can shrink, so that when there's no data, the line will collapse. When it's more than one line, it will grow automatically. We put on a line amount, maybe an item number in front. You see it's actually quite easy to set it up. A quantity. Advanced Forms will make its own labels, and you can change these any way you like. And you can also use the labels that are automatically coming in from the Dynamics part of it. I'm going to go to the quantity label, this one. See that we have a question. The designer of Crystal Reports or SRS. Yeah, the designer is actually is a low-code solution, because Advanced Forms is a low-code solution, so you do not really need any coding to make the workflow of the layout that you like. So you can do everything with easy drag and drop and properties that are readily available. So all logic can be done with properties. So that's a major advantage based compared to SRS, for instance. Let's see if we press the preview button, and you see we have set up a small layout. I'm gonna close this one. On the header level, I put on the company address, just drag and drop them on there. Make them a little bit bigger. So you see, it's easy to do this. And when I have a page number on the document, I'm gonna put it here in the footer. Just type the word page. And we have default options for the page numbering, page and the total pages just on there, preview, and we have the page number in place. And you can also do the company logo. There are more than one options to do logos on the document. One of these is within our designer. See if we've got some pictures on the system here. We just pick one of them, the Cordira logo. So this is one option to put the picture on it. You can also do this conditionally based on the company that you're in at the moment. And later on, I'm going to show you another option of doing layouts. It's easy to do shapes on the layout. For instance, do a bracket or different colors on the layout. Can easily do the own style that you want. Most of the totals will come in from Dynamics, but it's also possible to do calculations within Advanced Forms. Just set up a total. You have to tell the system that it is a decimal value and go to something in the line. For instance, you take the line amount, put them in there, and tell the system to use a certain data band to do the calculation. So it's easy to set up totals also. I see you have one question coming in. The web service BC creates an XML file for Advanced Forms based on the XML file. Does the file need to be created? Report based on this. When you do, we use the report from Dynamics. So when something is missing in a report, you can add it to the report itself. But you can also use the Advanced Forms connector to do additional fields. As Nicholas also shown us, you can do add fields in there. So you do not really need to change the report, but you can also do it on the Advanced Forms connector. And when you've added some information, that will be available in this designer after that. Okay, I'm going to leave the designer for now for a second. We go back to the workflow. I already put on the designer module, make a profile, and select the template that you create. For instance, a sales invoice. Determine what it should create. Should it create a PDF file, a Word, Excel, CSV file, a text file, a print file? You can choose whatever you like. Most of the case, it will be a PDF file. And when you have a PDF, you can make a naming convention based on information from the XML file. So the XML file containing all the data from Dynamics can be used to make the naming convention of the document. For instance, you can add the invoice number. Let's see where it is. Let's see, so there's customer number. I can pick that one. Add something else to it. The document number. .pdf. So that's easy to create a file name that you need. And there are also some other options that you can use to make the PDF file as you want, compress it, embed fonts, whatever you need to make the document as it should be. After the designer, we can add additional things like a PDF overlay. We've seen the picture within the Advanced Form Designer. We can also add an overlay to it. That is actually a PDF file containing the company logo, company paper, and merge that one with the file coming from the designer. So that's another option that you can use. You can have more than one. You can do all kinds of things. I'm going to add one that I prepared, overlays, Codera International, and you can decide on which pages should it print that company paper, only on the first page, on all pages, or certain page numbers, and you can create more than one overlay file. When the first page has a different setup as the other pages, just add them into here. Go to the next option, file insert. File insert enables you to add additional information to additional documents to your workflow. And when you have the invoice or an order or something else coming out from Dynamics, we create a PDF file. But you also want to have the terms and conditions, or maybe a certificate, or the corresponding signed order or product specifications, all kinds of stuff you can automatically add to the workflow. And again, you have different options. Again, repetitive file insert, for instance, from every line in your document, you can, based on the article number, you can fetch the product specifications, for instance. You can also do a database file insert when you have it in a database. A URL file insert you can use to get a document that's on the internet, or for instance on SharePoint. When you fetch additional documents, you can also use the PDF combine module. So you have a design, there's an empty design of an invoice, you put on an overlay so that it has the company paper. You fetch the terms and conditions and the corresponding order to it. With the PDF combine, you can create one document of all those together. So you have one PDF file to send out to your customers. To send out documents, we first, most of the time, use a routing. And a routing enables you, this is some kind of a traffic agent. It allows you to determine what should happen with the document. Based on the advanced form distribution that Nicholas showed you in Business Central, per customer, per report type, you can determine what should happen. Should it be emailed? Should it be printed? Should it go to an archive? Should it go back to screen? All kinds of things that you can set up. For the screen, we have an output option that's called the web service. You can also do a mail out, a file out where you put information on a file share, printer out, and you can go to a printer. But also we have an exchange service, an FTP location, a service bus for Azure. So we have a lot of things that you can send information to, and we set it up like this. More than one option can be used in one process. So when you send out a document to Advanced Forms, you can have it emailed, and you can have it printed and then put into the archive based on the conditions that you give to it. because in this routing, you see the same setup as I just added. All the things come by, the FTP, the printout, file out. On every level, you can put on a rule like this. Go back to the XML file. In there is the report action, for instance. When the report action equals or contains or is empty, whatever, preview, then it will go to the web service. The same thing goes for email. Report action equals mail. It will go to the email. And these options you can make as complex and difficult as you want, with and ors and nots, whatever, to determine yourself what should happen with the document. So you're fully in control to let the document go to the routing step that it needs to be. A thing that we do a lot lately is electronic invoicing. You might also do that, where the XML file coming from Dynamics as a basic setup that is not corresponding to the way that a government or some other company or institution wants. They have their own XML structures that they want to receive. Advanced forms can be used to do that also. I prepared a little demo for it. UBL is something that we use in Europe as a XML structure, and already created in the middle here the structure of that XML file, and you can actually drag and drop the entire structure onto there at once. And on the left side, you choose again the XML file from Dynamics. And just take one, and you can map the information from Dynamics to the other XML structure just by dragging it on. For instance, the accounting party, if I want to do the party name, I go to the customer name and add it to there. So now when this XML, this module is used, the XML from Dynamics is coming in, and the new structure, as I determined here, will come out. There's also a possibility to give namespace conventions within an XML node. So you can do all kinds of XML structures in here, especially for electronic invoicing or other purposes. I'm going to save that. And that could be one of the output options. It's actually the XML converter that we use for it. So for a certain customer, you can put in the routing a rule that it goes to the XML converter, where that setup that I just created will run. Just get it from here. So in the front of the workflow, it will still be the Business Central XML file. And after this module, we have an additional XML file containing the structure that the other party needs, and send it out using a web service or an API or an FTP location, whatever the other party wishes to receive the document in. Some other possibilities with the Advanced Forms application. Every document that you create has label information on it. So the default translations for the word invoice or description, amount, all those captions that are on a document, you can use the ones that come in from Dynamics. But there's also an option to do the same thing with Advanced Forms. And we have a text insert module, and the text insert module can be used to create your own translation file, actually. I'm going to show it very quickly in here. Again, you start with a clean sheet and you make your own captions. Actually, what you do is create an additional XML structure that will be added to the one from Dynamics. And you do multiple columns. You know, like, for instance, an English column. do a French column, a German column, and then you provide the different language captions into there. I don't really know the French word for it at the moment. It's up to like this. So you create your own language file within Advanced Forms. The main advantage for this is it's very easy to set up and very easy to change. And when a caption is not correct, you do not have to go back to your Dynamics. And when you do, can you do it yourself in Dynamics? It can be done, but when you have to go to your partner, it will cost a lot of time. In here, you set it up, change it, and update it to the server, and it will be instantly available on the document layouts. Only one of the translation columns will be used in your system, and that is also something that we do with conditions. I'm going to set it up in here. Give my new configuration. You see the same columns: the English, the French, and the German one. And on this level, I can put in a condition again, the same as you see in the routing. Go to the XML. I have here the language ID. When that equals, it has the English version. Do it for all languages, and also make sure that one of them is the backup. So only one of the columns that you created will be added to the data going to the designer. So it will always contain the correct language. And these are actually the languages coming from the customer in Dynamics. So when you set up the customer with the correct language, that language code we will use to determine the correct translation in your documents. And we put it in front of the designer because there is the location that we're going to use it in. So you can see it is actually quite easy to set up a workflow. In practice, it's a little bit more difficult than I show you now, of course, but the basic structure is very easy to set up and do it in any way that you like. Let's see. We can also do a SharePoint integration as a means of putting documents for archiving. We also have our own archiving option in Advanced Forms itself that comes with the software by default. And we can also go to other kinds of archives that are running. Most of the time we connect to another archive using an XML file for the metadata and the PDF file containing, of course, document that you want to store. So there was a very quick overview of the full Advanced Forms solution. It has a lot more options than I've just shown to you. But what I want to give to you is the most things that you see in here are low code, easy to set up, even without much technical knowledge. You can come a long way in Advanced Forms. When you have coding expertise, Advanced Forms also enables you to do coding in the designer or in the studio. But we always say only use coding when it's really necessary, when the basic solution of Advanced Forms does not have the option that you need. You can start coding, but until then, use the low code possibilities that are available in Advanced Forms. This is actually the part that I wanted to show to you. If there are any questions, I'm free to answer them right away.
Yeah, thank you, Tom. And thank you everyone for your that you were an attendee at this event. I hope you have a good view of what we can offer in terms of advantages which you can have with where you start using our solution, of course. Yeah, should you have any questions, feel free to ask them right now, or to of course send them to the Optimus team, and they will provide us with the questions, and then we come back on the questions. So any questions until now?